becoming more post-Christian as a society. And I think the things that are more and more resonating with people are the love aspects of what we do. And those are getting people to think like, okay, maybe this isn't what I thought it was, what you are doing, what we are doing day in and day out. Like, people see that and they start to question, okay, maybe Christianity wasn't what I saw on the news yesterday or what I've seen my entire life. It is something different. So we both of our organizations, I think, get to paint a different narrative. Yeah. And it's so beautiful.
Welcome to Hopecast, where we share hope and inspiration about what God is doing at Blessings of Hope in our local community and our personal lives. I'm your host, David Lapp. Today I'm joined by Matt Clement from Water Street Ministries. So what do you guys do at Water Street?
Yeah, we do a ton, but we're mostly known for caring for people experiencing homelessness. We serve around 170 people every night through two core ministries, an emergency shelter, which has about 80 men and women experiencing homelessness. And then we have a residential ministry as well that serves about 90 men, women, and families, meaning women and children, experiencing homelessness. And then we also have some what we would call next-gen ministries to pre-K and kindergarten students, elementary students. We do after-school programs there, and then Teen Haven, also after-school programs for teens, and then we have a young adult ministry, and we have also a health clinic, dental clinic, and behavioral health clinic, and a food bank.
So you're involved in quite a bit of more of a whole approach serving the Lancaster community.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Proactively upstream of homelessness, and while people are in homelessness and outside of homelessness, we're trying to prevent homelessness in a well-rounded way.
I know Water Street is probably one of the most well-known organizations in Lancaster. And how long have they been around? How long has the organization been around?
Since 1905. 1905. When we started in a house.
And that was a few years before you were born, I'm sure.
Exactly. Yeah, just a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started in a house as a soup kitchen and a Bible study, and 1917 we're officially incorporated, and so we're running close to 120 years now of being Water Street Mission and doing ministry in Lancaster City and in the general community.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing to see what God does with somebody had a vision, somebody started out, somebody started something, and here 120 years later, this is what it grew into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing.
I had to think back of when we started. Actually, the Bible verse for today sort of ties into this. Is in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In Genesis 1:1. Mm-hmm. And the reason we chose that verse is, I think back to the beginning of Blessings of Hope. Water Street was very instrumental in us getting started and supporting us in the early days. When they had excess food, they would reach out to us. When we had things they could use, we would more like a sharing type of a ministry. Mm-hmm. And so there were three organizations early on that really got us started, which was Water Street, Bowery Mission, and Bethesda Mission out of Harrisburg. And just being able to take their excess and then share what we had back to the ministry, it's really how we got started. So, you never know early on when you're getting started what's going to come out of that relationship. But here we are, 18 years later, and still serving Water Street. Whenever we have excess things that you can use. So.
Yeah. I mean, we love working with you guys. Like, we love your heart. We share the same heart, the same vision for caring for people in need, providing God's love to our community, and just the amazing work that you guys do with the Bowery as well, and with Harrisburg. I mean, there's such massive needs across the board in Lancaster City and Harrisburg and New York City, and so. We're so grateful for you. And
so what gets you excited? Like when you get up in the morning, what gets you excited about starting your day?
Yeah. Well, I love that we get to share the love of Jesus, to be honest. So I work in the marketing team at Water Street. I love that we get to share the stories of generosity and the things that are happening. We get to ask people to be a part of that generosity. But what I really love to show is the stories of life change. We just put out a story about Jess Elise, who is in our Wonder Academy, came to know Christ over this past year.
Wow.
Through being with the Wonder Academy team and just learning about Jesus. And we've seen guys like Levon, whose story we just put out, who normal guy working as a chef here in Lancaster City, and just ran into some health issues. And he didn't have the foundation. He didn't have the things that he needed, the health that he needed, the spiritual foundation that he needed to really pick himself up and get to where he needed to be whole and be fully living as God created him to be. And so I love that we get to get those stories out there and show that like the heart of everything is Jesus, and that like he's the one who is at the core of restoration, and he's the one who's at the core of everything that's beautiful.
And there's so many stories. I mean, we see it too. You know, we can think of the hundreds of stories and try to pick. You know, but if we can zero in on one person's story and share that's usually heart touching for me. Is all the food that we distribute, all the impact that we make, but that one story really touches home. Usually, it's like these are real people living a real life that just face challenges.
Absolutely.
And face challenges that I probably never faced. And I had to put myself into that situation. What would I do in a situation of hopelessness, in a situation of homelessness, in a situation of not knowing how to feed my family? What would I do? I don't know, because I was never there.
Yeah.
And if we can put ourselves in their shoes and we can see it from that angle, it gives you a different frame of reference.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we just did our big Top Chefs event, which is one of our larger fundraisers, and we were able to tell a story of a woman with a graduate degree in human resources management, and she lost her job, she lost her health insurance, and she was in need of health care, and so she came to our clinic and was facing some sinus infections that were causing her to have like bleeding in her throat, and you realize that these people are not that different from us, that they've just hit one little issue or one little thing here, and it's caused them to be in need.
And it's oftentimes it's something something out of their control, something that you never know what causes somebody to hit a hardship in life. There's some things that preventatively could probably be done to keep people from going there. If we had access to them before time, through programs. But it's the world we live in, and it's just incredible just to be a part of reaching out to people and sharing the hope of Jesus with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's just such a profound opportunity there, and I think in our society as well. We're becoming more post-Christian as a society, and I think the things that are more and more resonating with people are the love aspects of what we do, and those are getting people to think like, okay, maybe this isn't what I thought it was. What you are doing, what we are doing day in and day out. Like, people see that and they start to question, okay, maybe Christianity wasn't what I saw on the news yesterday, or what I've seen my entire life. It is something different. So we both of our organizations, I think, get to paint a different narrative. And it's so beautiful.
It's one thing to be a Christian on a Sunday morning. It's another thing to be a Christian on a Tuesday afternoon when the stress is there and you're trying to get through your day. That's really when the heart comes out, and that's really when the challenges come and when you get squeezed, and what comes out of that can be a beautiful thing.
Yes, absolutely.
And if at that point vile stuff comes out or hatred comes out, it gives an opportunity to dig deeper of, why do we do what we do? Who are we actually behind, what people see?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's incredible.
I totally agree.
So are there any recent God stories that you want to share with our audience here today?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so many.
I'm sure there are, but
Yeah.
You shared a few already, but
Yeah. Well, I would say, we just had one actually happen this week. So we had a Pulitzer Prize winning author come and visit us. So we were reached out to by the New York Times, and they were talking to multiple missions. They'd gone to Milwaukee. They had seen some city missions, but they wanted to get one that was in a smaller city. So they chatted with us, and turned out that we were the one that they ended up choosing.
Wow.
And Matthew Desmond, the Pulitzer Prize winning author, came down to work with New York Times on this piece. And I think he came with some preconceived notions of what shelters were, that there were shelters were things where people were there and they were kind of a problem, and they were kind of be moved in and moved out. Let's give them food, give them shelter, and let's, that's it, I don't think he was expecting to hear what he heard.
Wow.
Hearing about people being family, like our guys caring for each other. One of the stories that came out of this piece that was released yesterday was Jim Costello was the interviewee, and he talked about another guest who had a job but didn't have anything that he needed for the job. He needed steel-toe boots. He needed some shirts. He needed pants that were more like work pants. And that same day that he got the job, the members of the residential community, the men's residential community, gathered all those items together, and within a couple hours, he had everything they needed to start the job. They gave him their own stuff. I mean, all these guys have is like 1 or 2 bags. That's their whole livelihood, and they're willing to pull out of that and give it to somebody that they're in community with.
Wow.
Was so amazing. So, like, just that story is being able to be shared on a worldwide level, nationally, worldwide. Like, I mean, that's such a blessing to us, and we're totally unexpected. And we're totally unexpected that Matthew Desmond would be so impacted. And so, to be honest, we're excited about what's going to happen in his life and how his mind might be changed about how shelters work, and maybe even about his faith.
Wow.
So excited about that.
So if people want to get involved at Water Street, like through donations, or even if somebody needs help, what's the best way to get a hold of somebody at Water Street, or to be a part of what Water Street is doing here in the Lancaster community?
Yeah. I mean, I think the best way is to go on our website, wsm.org. You can sign up for our newsletter, Stories from Water Street. That's a great way to get started. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. And then on Spotify, we have a podcast, or Stories podcast, where you can listen. And then we also have a YouTube channel as well.
Wow.
So those are all great ways to see stories, to hear about the generosity that's happening in our community towards those experiencing homelessness, and then just to hear stories as well. The Stories from Water Street piece always has a story from either a guest or somebody in one of our ministries, and how they've seen their lives changed through being at Water Street.
Wow. So if you want to be a part of Water Street and reaching out, helping support their mission, wsm.org, and check out the resources they have there. Quote for today is from Rita Bailey. It says, "Start wherever you are and start small." I think back to when you shared that Water Street started in 1905. I think you said almost 120 years ago. I'm sure when they started, it wasn't what it is today. But somebody had to start it, and somebody had to step out in faith, take that next step, and through the grace of God, through, I'm sure, trial and error, it is what it is today, and it's a very powerful light right in the midst of Lancaster City. Yeah, so
absolutely. Yeah, and I think all great movements start with like one step of faith, one step of trust, of trusting God to do something, and just leaning into Him and being open-handed with what He has. And you guys did that, about 20 years ago as well. And now you are where you are.
Yeah, I look back. I wouldn't want to do it again, but I'm glad we went through what we went through because we learned so much along the way. I mean, you're just learning what works and what doesn't work, and how we can grow off of our mistakes and do things better for the future.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow. Anything you wanted to share here before we wrap it up?
No, just thank you guys for being such great partners, and I mean. Our logistics director just continues to rave about you guys and all that you've done for us, and especially throughout the pandemic. I don't know if we would have survived, or he would have survived, if it wasn't for you, and all the ways that you guys have stepped in. And I just love that we share the same heart and that we have the same passion for allowing people to see God's love through generosity.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing to see what God did. What God did with the relationship here, since we started in 06, and just being able to partner together. I know we've had times when Water Street was offered like a semi truckload of a certain product where they wanted 4 pallets, but if they don't take the whole load, they don't get the 4 pallets. So we're able to bring that in, get them their 4 pallets, and we have the rest to distribute otherwise. So.
Yeah.
And that type of a partnership is it's a lot of fun to work together like that.
Yeah, we're just caring for one another.
Yeah. And utilizing what God puts in front of us.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. That's great.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you for joining us on Hopecast. I'm David Lapp, your host and CEO of Blessings of Hope. To learn more about Blessings of Hope and how we serve the community, you can check out our website, blessingsofhope.com. God bless you, and remember that you can bring hope to the people that you meet every day.
For watching this episode of Hopecast. We hope you enjoyed it. Check out all the links in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.